All right, so what I was doing is I was going to do a demonstration on mouths, teeth, and I don't know if I was doing the lips. Definitely teeth and gums. I don't think we got into lips at all. I can do a demo on that too, I suppose. That takes a while, you know. So what I'm gonna do is I did start a Zoom meeting in which we did some of the teeth, and I thought I saved the file and I can't seem to locate it. So unfortunately, I may have never saved the file, so I had to start from scratch. So I Googled black and white free clip art that's free for me to use. This way I'm not just, stealing somebody's image outright. And then I'm gonna take a couple of these images off off of here, so this way I can bring them back and use them as like a mood board, so I can see different with light shining differently on different people's teeth, the location of the mouth where it's shining, how maybe it fades, or they might become bluer or more yellow depending on different teeth and the location of the teeth. That's all. It's just for reference. It's not photorealism here. Okay, so I'm going to take this one. I'm going to go to Photoshop. We're going to go. Move this out of the way. Okay, I'm hitting Command T to enlarge this, holding the Shift key in the corner, bringing it up. Okay, I'm gonna get a couple of these going on. All right, and then I'm gonna go get my free clip art. So I don't know whose mouth this is, no idea, but I'm using this for educational purposes. All right, so we're gonna go ahead, go back to Chrome. I don't know what I like here. I need to find somebody's mouth here. Oh, I don't know what's going on if somebody is here. Oh, it's right, smile. Do a nice smile. Maybe we'll come up with some better images. There we go. You can also see some of these other artists who are rendering these. They're putting a little bit of a shadow here. And then there's a little bit of highlight underneath there. And that's a nice illustration. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm going to do something a little bit more detailed. Again, it's not going to be photorealism, but it's going to be a little bit more detailed than these. But you can see what they're doing, a little bit of shadow on the back teeth to show that they're receding in space. It's a cooler color. This is white. And some of them you're going to see like a yellowish white. So I don't know if you've painted white on white before, but that's something to try out, different like all white painting. It's very fun to do. They still have different shading on the teeth. It's not just one solid. Same thing with the tongue. There's a little bit more depth. All right, so I'm going to try to steal someone's gums. Well, I don't know about that. I gotta look for something more real. Like that one. So we're gonna go with that for now. I totally warped that. Oops, didn't mean to do that. All right, let me try that again. All right, hold down that shift key so it stays in proportion. Now I have, I picked this one because I wanted to see a little bit more of the gum line, because in my painting that I'm gonna do, I am gonna do a little bit of the gums, and there wasn't really enough showing in this one because of the position of the mouth. The curvature was covering a lot of the gums. So that's what I'm going for. And the teeth are, you can see the shading on the teeth. It's very dark on the side and it goes through. Now, you kind of see there's a little bit more of a shadow up here, but it's subtle. I make mine a little bit more dramatic to give it a little bit more depth when I'm painting it. The teeth here underneath, they're a little bit more in shadow. You see that this is a brighter white than these are. Okay. So I'm going to open up my other file, which I already Googled. Here's it free. Oh, click here. That'll be it. Now it's working. All right, so now I'm going to go back to Photoshop, right? And I'm going to open my download folder. Download. There it is. All right, I'm going to take this up. We're going to bring him over here. You see it's see-through. All right, I'm going to have a couple issues when I'm painting this. I'm going to fix these issues for you. Now, the teeth are white already. I do not want that. I want to do my own stuff, so I'm just going to paint right over that. And eventually, I'm going to get rid of all the line work anyway. So I'm actually going to paint on separate layers. So let me grab my layers palette. Let me get rid of some of this junk. Who needs this? Oops, wrong thing. I didn't mean to click you. What are you doing? All right. Window layer. So. All right, so here's my layers. I am going to create a couple new layers. So that's my mouth layer. We're going to type in mouth outline. Like I said, I'm stealing somebody else's. It's just too much work to sit there and draw mine in for right now because it takes more time than I have because I already did it once. And well, you know the story behind that. So, but I did use I actually, you know what? I did it more than once, but for the last demo I did, I actually did use, I think the same mouth. And I don't want to spend the time to do that. I can't even spell outline correctly. So, all right, got that going. And then I'm going to create another new one where I'm going to paint my more layers. Okay. All right, so I have my mouth here. I'm going to move it over. Let's get it over here. There we go. I'm going to make it larger. All right, so now here's the problem I'm going to have when I'm painting. I'm going to zoom in and show you. I like to select what my magic wand tool will say and select all the inner part of these teeth. The problem with it is some of these teeth do not have closure on them. So when I go to select them, you'll see that the selection tool goes nutty and goes all up into the gums and inside the mouth where I don't want it. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. Here's my magic wand tolerance. Default is usually at 32. Mine's set for 15. That's just, I'm always lowering mine, that's why. All right, so I'm going to select inside this tooth. You'll see that this one got selected. You'll see a little dancing marquee here. I'm going to hold the shift key, select that one, that one, that one, that one. And you'll see that they're all selected. My problem is it selected this last tooth and it started to select the bottom row too, because they're attached somehow. So somehow in this, there is a line that's broken. And I had to go and repair that line, even though it's somebody else's work. I'm not going to use their line work. I'm going to repair it to make my life easier later on. All right, so that's what we're going to end up doing. All right, so let's see if I could do that. So if I hold the shift key, I'm going to show you more damage here. So you also selected 3, and then it selected some outer parts where I didn't want. So I'm going to deselect all this, and I'm going to make sure and I fix all these teeth first. Let me zoom in and see where there's broken lines. It's definitely a broken line here and here. So that's why when I selected this one, it attached itself in here. See, now this acts as one big whole tooth. If you do not want it to act like one big whole tooth, you're going to have to repair it. So I'm going to use itsy bitsy line work here. And opacity is only at 12. Okay. See, now when I select it, watch what happens. Just this tooth gets selected. And that's what I would want. Okay. So I do have to go back and see this guy right here. I'm going to have to repair that. There's a lot of repairing I had to do. It's easier to repair this, though, faster than it is to sit there and draw my own. So that's why I still chose to do this. Let me just go and repair all these just to show you what I was doing. It makes it sound like the teeth are broken or something, but that's really not what's going on here. What's going on is that the artist used open lines, which is great, you know. But trying to use their image to paint my own teeth in is not so good for. And I am going to get rid of the black outline eventually. All right, so now when I go to select these guys, it should be a lot easier for me to, you know, have a whole top row without selecting the bottom row. I want to call this top teeth, the whole row. Okay. I have some stragglers in there that I have to go and clean up. Anyway, let me hold down the shift key. I'm gonna use my lasso tool. I'm gonna hold down the shift key, access addition. And I'm gonna select these little guys that did not want to be selected. All right, make sure there's no more of those laying around. I don't see any more. All right, so now I'm gonna go up to select, save selection. We're gonna call this top teeth. All right, and the bottom one, same. Hold down the shift key. Using the space bar to turn my cursor into the grab tool. And the shift is allowing me to add without deselecting what the other ones. So then I'm going to go to select, save selection. We'll save this as bottom teeth. So this way when we work later, we could work on them as whole units. All right. So I'm going to go up to the top here. I'm going to dump some paint on these bottom ones. I do have some hold the shift key. Scraggly ones here and there. All right, so let me zoom out a little bit. I'm going to paint in the bottom and top. So I go to back to select. I go to load selection. I can load them all at the same time if I want, or I could do the top and then the bottom. And at some point I will do the bottom and top separately, but right now I'm just putting an overlaying color there. So I'm going to go add to selection. And from there, I'm going to hit bottom, top teeth. Now everything's selected, right? So I'm going to actually use a little bit off-white. We're going to go more to the yellow spectrum. Let's see what we got here. So see what's going on. Okay. I could start with blue. Either one. I'm going to add blue in. So I'm going to use a giant brush here, just fill this all in. Oh, that was black. That is not what you want to see on your teeth. Although that'd be really cool for some sort of skull paint thing of some sort, right? So that's how I'm seeing that. Okay, let me think about this real quick. Okay, we're not doing that right now. It's not going to be how you learn how to paint teeth. Although this would be fun. All right, so let's undo that. Let me get a normal brush that's not all manipulated. I thought, is it manipulated? Is that what's going on? Let me go to window. I think when I shut this down the other day, I might have played around with the brush settings. Didn't reset it all. Right now, it should be good to go. That's what it looks like to me. All right. So I have these bright yellow teeth now. And I am going to go ahead and zoom out so I can see my reference material, my mood board. I'm going to go ahead and paint in a little bit of white, and I'm going to do it with opacity changes. This is very soft, very smooth. And then for the reflections and stuff, I am going to mess around with my brush to be more textured like, and then I can, make uneven marks. So it looks like, real reflections versus, me painting the same dot on every tooth. A little bit more random, controlled randomization. So just playing around here. Okay, so let me get some white. this is a warmer white. So I'm going to start going with a little bit lighter. I'm going to go in and change opacity. And right now I'm doing well with having all my teeth selected, but in case I do want to change it up, I could go with a gray tone. If I use my eyedropper tool, you'll see that you have different beigey type of gray tones and stuff in there. I choose to work with yellows, blues, and white for my illustration. But if you want to try painting with this, you can, but keep in mind you might want to paint with something a little bit more solid and you just change the opacity, like a more deeper color. I love doing that to myself, right? Let's change it again. I should have saved it. All right, now we're gonna go down to like 30%. And I am still on the same layer. I could switch layers. That might benefit me a little bit, but I am doing subtle changes here, really subtle. Now back here, I'm gonna do a little bit more lighter. I know maybe it doesn't make sense right now, but it will, because I don't want them so yellow, that's why. It's kind of like desaturating them a little bit. Change opacity up a little bit more. Every tooth is going to be a little bit different, you know? And what's going to happen is this down here is going to be a little bit more shadow, and this up here is going to be a little bit more shadow. So you're going to get a little bit more highlights up in here. So I'm going a darks around the outside because the curvature of the teeth going in, they hang underneath the gums a little bit, so they're gonna be a little bit darker underneath there. The lower teeth are gonna be darker unless you have a different type of bite. That's all. I'm gonna go ahead and darken this one up over here a little bit, and then I'm gonna go back in and put my whites back in. And I might add even more white later on, but currently this is how I'm going with it. Let me go back to more red or white. I guess I could. Okay. And this is kind of pretty much, pretty white. So it's going to be pretty dramatic. Let me zoom in. I'm going to want to put some highlights right around the gum areas too. So, all right, so let me see what happens when I paint with that to 25% only. We'll put that at 50% for right now. And I'm going to go ahead and my smudge tool. It's on 50%. Sometimes it's a little too dramatic, but this is just doing for right now. It's doing okay for right now, I should say. Now I'm going to go ahead and put a different type of brush in. Let's see what kind of brushes we have. All right, let me go back into, I lost my brush stuff. All right, yeah, brush settings is out. Oh, it's right there. Oh, I just totally closed it off. What am I doing? All right, brush settings. Let's see, shapes, brushes. Let me find a good one. This one's not bad. No, let me go to brush settings. Let's see what we can do with that. Kind of make it kind of more scattered like. Yeah, so this way it doesn't look like an intentional, same exact mark on every tooth. That was way too much though. I'm gonna have to make that a little bit smaller, or a lot of bit smaller. That's a big mess everywhere. All right. Yeah. So let me make that even smaller. Okay. Let me count jitter. Let's get that closer together there. And then you can also rotate that too. So I can go back to the brush. That'll work. Try to get some marks on these teeth that don't make them look so smooth. All right, so let me go back in with a nice normal brush. All right, so I'm going to go back in with a nice normal brush and add some opacity change lights on here. And you can see underneath different lighting, different textures from the other brushes I just used. So I'm going to go ahead and draw it in. Let me zoom out. You see that there's a little bit more yellows. I ended up taking too many of them away when I was playing around with the other stuff. So let me add a couple back in here. And then go ahead and put my whites in certain teeth here. This is one way of doing it. There's so many ways to paint teeth. I was going to use my other weird brush that I was playing with before that gave me this big mess that I had. I'm trying to give it, more of, not predictable as much. The opacity is too bright. I mean, this is pretty much done. It's just an illustration, not a realistic, rendition here. At some point, I will have to get rid of the outline, so I'm gonna have to go back and do all that and add more to it. So the gums, onto the gums, right? I'm gonna deselect these teeth. I'm gonna go back to that other layer where the mouth outline is, this guy. And we'll just select my gums now. You'll notice when I try to do that, it selects the lips also. So I had to complete the drawing in order for that to not do that. Oh, jeez. Okay. So now I'm going to go to the select this mouth part here. All the innards I'm going to have to go in and select too. So it's only select the outside. I'm going to hold the shift key. Save selection, gums. I have to put it all together in a minute. All right. So this is going to be my gum line. Okay. Moving this all over here. I'm trying to reset up some stuff here. Let's get rid of that. All right, so my gum line, I'm gonna make a new layer. I think this is good, right? We're gonna do a nice pinkish color in there. All right, we're gonna just dump paint in there for now. I need to go more desaturated than that. There we go. Okay, that's terrible looking. All right, so for now it's terrible. It's gonna be better. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and notice in this area here it's darker, more desaturated in color, and it becomes lighter, brighter, more intense of a color, more pure of a color when it comes up to us in the foreground right here. And so we're gonna go ahead and try to mimic that. I'm gonna move this guy over a little bit and go ahead and start painting on top of this again with a nice, I could use reflection type of brushes with different separation of the bristles and such, more of like a splatter type paint to make my reflections and lose a little bit of control over the situation, which is great. Doesn't look as predictable. It's not boring. You have different eye paths that happen just on the teeth alone. Forget the whole rest of the face. So I'm gonna go ahead and start my dark. And I'm gonna have to go back in. I'm gonna attach these teeth to the gums. So. Already, that is already very dark. All right. Oops, that's really dark. I'm going to blend this out. So I'm just kind of jotting in where I want to make things a little bit more prominent. Start, jotting in a little bit of darkness up here. So we're going to go light. Okay, we can handle this, right? So here we go. Very, very pink. Kind of do it all together, right? It is illustration. I mean, I'm jotting down things that I think, will help it better. That's ugly, horrible. All right. Okay, good now. Just putting in marks that I think will help make it look a little bit more three-dimensional. All right, so let me get some dark going back in up there. Oops, we gotta get rid of this brush because this is a terrible brush for this. Need some smooth. Oops. Way too dark. But again, we're gonna fix this up because this is looking like all lumpy. It's funny. All right. Maybe not to you guys, but for me, it's pretty funny. Let me fix this up. We're doing different opacities, only at 47%. Okay. Let me zoom back over here. Let's see what we got going on over here. It's just subtle. Subtle indentations into the teeth lines. Let's fix this up. Okay. A little randomness back there to make it look, it doesn't end in there. There's something else happening back there. We don't know what it is. And this is meant to be looked up close, so putting a little bit of a, could blend this out more, put on a separate layer, blur it. This is okay for now. I might go ahead and I could paint like little specks. Let's see what we could do. Well, it was a little too speckly. Let's see what we could do with the percentage strength wise here. I like what was going on over here, so I'm kind of trying to just blend it all back in. All right, so I have, a decent illustration here so far. I'm going to go back with the teeth now and add a little bit more shadowing on them, but the issue I'm going to have is I now have to take away my outline to do so. So you see what my problem is, right? I have no outline on these at all. I have to go in and blend all this together. Make it interesting, right? Let's see how we can handle this one at a time. So you can see this is the drawing, and now I'm going to do away with that. Give me a second here. This is the painterly approach to it. And highlight the teeth. Let me see what happens. Let me go to slide load selection. See what this top teeth selection looks like. And I go ahead and I can, form a gum line to kind of go over a little bit. I was going to do it to where the teeth form more of a shadow there, but I think it might be easier for me to, I'm not really sure what's going to be easier actually. All right, let me try it out. We're going to put it on a different layer. This layer 3 should be able to paint on that. So, oh, God. Wow. Anyway, now I know what's going on. Inverse. Select inverse usually helps. Okay, let's try that again. Do this could be like a red, dark red, almost a blackish red. So this way it looks like it's part of the deep part of the mouth instead of doing a black outline. And I go ahead and I could have just changed the black outline to red, probably, and smooth it about. Go back and use the smudge tool in a little bit, that type of thing. It's a little too smudgy. I had to go to a much lower strength than that. The reason why I selected the top teeth and did inverse was this way I can not get the teeth all dirty. There's always more than one way to do everything. This is just one illustration of it. I mean, probably go all the way down with that. These teeth would be in a character's mouth, so unless you wanted it up close, I mean, you can. And I'd go in and put a lot of fine details in if I wanted to. Again, illustrations, so it shouldn't be. Or you know what? I think I'm just gonna. It's a tough decision. All right, I'm just gonna keep going with this upper part, and then I'm gonna select the bottom, and then we'll fill it in faster. Add to selection, hit bottom teeth, get those bottom teeth in there. All right, so select load selection. And again, I'm gonna have to smooth a lot out because the teeth are all like, rough up against those edges. So I'm gonna hit bottom teeth, new selection, and select load selection, top teeth. And then I'm gonna reverse it. I should have just, honestly, at this point, I'm thinking probably should have. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Filling it in faster than I normally would. I just get the video moving. I would have to go back and smooth all this out. My suggestion would have been take my drawing, turn the drawing red. I did not do that, so I have to suffer through this. All right. In a more of a blackish red in some of these areas, show a little bit more depth that's happening maybe. And then we go back and we can I'm gonna deselect this nonsense now. You can see the issue I'm gonna have is my teeth are all rough and they're all rough up close, like pixelated. Let's go back and fix that. I'll also put deeper shadows. I can see so many more possibilities here. Also, the redness around the gum line. See how here it's just a small light. It's lighter than that. I go back and I could change that. That's on a separate layer, I believe. So I could go back and make it a little bit lighter if I want in those areas, or I could just leave. It's kind of fun, you know. I'm gonna lighten it up a little bit on top. You know how to do that at this point now, right? I would think. Here's my mouth. I could go back in and draw. I mean, that was up close, so still a lot of outlining, and maybe draw a little bit more shadow. Let's go put a little more shadow on. Can't hurt, right? So I'm gonna put a new layer here. Throw that layer on top and plus my shadow layer. So we're gonna mess things up right now. So we're gonna select those teeth. What do we have? Those teeth. There's those teeth. And I'm gonna grab myself a. Get over here. Is it not cooperating? All right. I'm gonna grab myself a nice bluish tone here. Saturate that guy. Darker, darker. Just drop it on. Let's see what happens, guys. Right. Right now it's at 100%. We're going to put that at 40. Just gonna have fun with this. Oh, can't have fun with it if it's select inverse. Throw in some shadows here. Ooh, that got dark fast, didn't it? But remember, it's on a separate layer, so I can just, pick this up and just go away. Let's just turn this off. See? It's really bright. Poof, not so bright. All right, so that's what we're doing. Again, I'm just gonna get my small brush right in here. Having a bit of fun with this, right? And it's meant to be, look at that from a distance. Up close, it's gonna look totally different. Ooh, no, not so good. All right, up close, this will look totally different. Oh, come on. Depends on your detail and the rendering and the smoothness that you give something on. Where is this meant to be seen? What's going on? What happened to that tooth? It's just like very large on the top. I don't know. I kind of like it. It's just so weird. Like, why does the tooth gotta look like that? Maybe the original artist can explain that tooth to us. Anyway, this is a little bit of fun, right? So we got that in. Got some dark lines happening there. Some deep shadows in the back. Let me get another shadow back here. I could see it. See where it needs it right here. So, okay, let's see if we could pull this off. Just one quick clean stroke. Is that too much? I don't know. Let's go back to window and history. Lost history. There it is. So now in my history, if I go back one, that's bright, real bright on the side. And I go down here, not as bright. Maybe it was too much. I don't know. He needs one more. I don't know. If you don't like it, you can go clean it back up through history as long as you don't mess it up too much. I think we'll stick with that. We'll go with that. It's fun. I mean, like, we're just looking at these other mouths as inspiration, a mood board to understand what it's supposed to somewhat resemble. Um, anyway, that's it. I'm gonna go ahead and do the lips, I guess. I don't know if I should. So let me deselect that. Let me get rid of the outline. So we have so far. That's that. That's it. I think we'll go and do maybe lips. Might be able to get them done in a different video, but we are going to save this one. So I have to start all over again for the second time. It's been the thing that I've been doing lately. I've been saving my work, and I had to zoom in. Honestly, if I show you, it's all pixelated. Some of these areas really bad, so I would have to technically go back in and blur this out. Or I mean, I could. I wonder if I could just do that. I can merge some of these and blur them. I can always go to filter, blur gallery, blur, Asian blur. Try to get rid of some of those hard lines. No, I'm gonna cancel that. I don't like that at all. I could go and smooth them all out myself on it also too. With right now my strength is at 90%. But I would merge these together first and then fix all that. But it was a very pixelated line work to begin with. It was probably like 75 was a resolution or something. I don't know. Anyhow, it's not meant to be looked at that close. So up close, it doesn't look so good. It's got the pixelation going on. Again, it's not an easy fix, but I'd sit there and smooth it all out. I'd actually, what I would do is I would merge layers, probably blur everything, put some details back in. Yeah, to fix all that instead of having to go around each and every little tooth. That's just gonna be a pain.